Welcome to the Rotary Club of Nairobi podcast series. I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. She's so many things to many people. She's so many things to me, especially when I think of Rotary. Sally Gitoho, kindly tell us about your early life and up to now. Tell us what your journey has been like.
Oh, thank you, Susan, and hello, everyone. I grew up in Nakuru, did my early schooling up to probably class 3, and my life basically was boarding school. Boarding school, interacting. My dad traveled a lot, so we found ourselves town to town, so I ended up most of us went to boarding schools. That is not only in school, but also in university, because I did my university in India. So I call that boarding also, because I'd go to college and then come home for holidays. So quite an interesting life, checkered with, we are also many in the family. So we had our own army.
How many were you? Are you?
We've lost one, so we have. I have to count. So there's 5 of us, plus 3. That is 8, plus another 4. That's we have 3 segments in the family.
3 segments, and that's good.
Yes.
So 5 plus 3 plus 4, we're talking 12.
Yes.
I still can have my maths on check.
Yes. So after uni, which is in the area of social sciences, arts, public administration, and sociology.
No that we connected. I also did social sciences for my first degree, economics and sociology.
Oh wow, it's interesting. It's interesting. So when I got back home after the university, my first employer was the government of Kenya, Ministry of Culture and Social Services in the area of HR. And I tempered my early working life with further education. So I did my company secretarial training, which boosted my career. And along the way, actually before I went to India, I'd met Isaac.
Isaac Gitoho, also a Rotarian,
he's also
right?
a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Nairobi. Rotary Club of Muthaiga, oh my, that's how passionate I am about we are, after all, the mother club.
I know.
Yes, so upon my return, started a career and got married 1987. Yep, that's how long. We have 2 sons who also are married. Susie, you know both. You know the second one.
I know both. I know both your sons. Yeah.
And so now we are grandparents. We have 4 grandchildren.
You cannot be a grandparent, Sally. No.
Life is interesting. I think we are living. We have a second chance.
Black don't crack. This is the divination. How are you a grandparent?
It's so interesting, and I can see why they say that grandparents spoil the children, because what happens is when they come to us, we are all so nice, and then we hand them back to the parents to sort it out. So now I'm in consulting, but during my last employment, which was the Nairobi hospital, that's where I joined Rotary when I was at the Nairobi hospital. Actually, born in Thika, started school in Nakuru, and eventually moved to Nairobi.
Thanks for taking us to that part of your life.
Yes.
I know I met you through Rotary from the very first time.
Yes.
I walked into Grand Regency, which became Lycol Regency, which is not there anymore. You stood out. You were there. You're very welcoming with a beautiful smile and very professional. What inspired you to join Rotary?
Wow. Right from my early days, I always sort of was serving. When you're in school, you have either you're a Girl Guide, a Ranger, of course, younger Brownie.
So you are Girl Guide, a Ranger,
yes,
Brownie. Wow.
Yes. And in high school, we had this, we used to take care of the old people around the school. So there are those who went to clean, there are those who went to feed them, and occasionally visiting orphaned children, gifting them. So in my working life, I found that, like at the Nairobi hospital, I was I headed what was called the charitable committee. We did medical camps and responses to various calls. So what I found I did was, it was hit and run, or hit and miss. There's an incident here, you run, you serve, and you go back to your life. And
transactional.
Yeah.
What are they called? Transactional relationships. I don't use the word relationship, but
and you never quite. We never went back to find out. So we were here. We did a medical camp, and we done a research before. So what happened to those people? We never went back. Went to another area. So David Githanga invited me to this meeting, Rotary, and I was so amazed at what Rotary did. And what I love about Rotary, what inspired me, was that it gave me a structured way to give and to serve. So I wasn't just going to a school and never going back. In Rotary, I found a structure that I could have a project that I worked, continued with. Most of the projects continue, like Sunshine Rally. That time, that's not what it was called, but the minute you have a relationship that continues year after year, then you're hooked. So yes. that planned way is what got me interested in that.
And you look forward to the events, the projects. When I first joined Rotary, the first thing I was thrown into, I think the first meeting, Salim and Amar were like, can you join the Sunshine Rally Committee? And I had to go for the meetings. And Nazir, was it called Nazir?
Nazir, yeah.
He was the one who was chairing the meeting. And then I went for the first Sunshine Rally. And there's nothing like that I had experienced in terms of charity before. And I've spoken to a few Rotarians, and the Sunshine Rally keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. And I talked to Suli recently. He talked about the Sunshine Rally. David Githanga, so many people bring it up. And it's nice to hear that was one of the projects that, impacted you.
When I joined Rotary and I told my dad, I'm a Rotarian, and he said, no, you can't be. I'm sure it's something else. And I asked him, why can't I be a Rotarian? He said, no, Rotary is for men. And I don't think, do they take Africans? And I said, of course. And it was President Evelyn Mongai then, and he knows Evelyn Mongai because actually they were neighbors. One of her properties, their properties were, they had a common wall. So when I told him that, it took time for him, because in his days, Rotary was, of course, yes, male, 100% male. So today, it's transformed. We have young people, we have professionals, we have interesting professions like astronomy, and which really I think most of us heard of in school but never quite interacted with. So Rotary for me is a way of life. It is a place that you go in, discover yourself, use what you have, which is your talents, your time, your resources. And resources is not only money. For instance, when we look at some of the activities that we engage in, besides the Sunshine Rally, we used to have these debates in schools with the interactors working with Rotaractors. So now that engagement where we have 40-year-olds working with 20-something-year-old to reach under 18. So you see, it's a whole cycle. It's a life, because the interactors get introduced into giving, serving, and knowing that even just using the talents like they have. The best example is the Rotaractors. Why do they come in? They connect easier, so that it's not a parent-child relationship. They connect easy, and then they become like a sibling. So when the interactors look up to the Rotaractors and they see, wow, okay, so the young people, they're looking at people who they are going to be soon. And we, who perhaps they would see as their parents, are backing them and sitting back, supporting. So it's a full cycle. Rotary is for everyone.
I like how you brought up in that conversation that it is for everyone. Interactors that are 12 to 18-year-olds, mostly established in schools, and they can do projects, and they can raise money, and they can, public speak.
Yes.
And really well. And then you have Rotaractors who are mostly around 19 to 25, 30, and then Rotarians. And it's a continuous thing, a continuous cycle of many things, from projects to mentorship, and not just top down. It could be bottom up. I think now we realized with the pandemic that we needed to use alternative ways to communicate, and some of us relied on the younger generation to help us, and that's a good example of mentorship from bottom up. And you're the example of mentorship. You walk into a room and you connect with a diverse audience, older, younger, diverse race and everything. How do you do it? What's the secret?
Maybe because perhaps the boarding school aspect, where you sort of, I went in pretty early. I went into boarding school class 3, so you sort of like met. We were a young child goes into school, and your parents are not there, your siblings are not there, so you have to get along. And these are your desk mates, your dorm mates, you're cleaning, you're in the sports. So I think that's a bit of it. The kind of personality that I don't find it difficult to start a conversation with somebody I don't know. As I age, maybe I have to think a lot more in terms of how to engage, because previously it's like you walk into a space and you pick any topic and you can just start a conversation. Now, when it is in Rotary, you know that there's that common, you have something in common. Anybody who's coming, whether you're a guest, you're a Rotarian or a Rotaractor, already you have identified a spirit of serving or of interacting, and it's very free.
So it's a tribe. We have a tribe about us that's open to others.
Everyone.
You're not saying stay out.
And with that, so there's that common thing that then makes you talk to anyone. But also, because you also catch yourself talking with people perhaps you don't know, who you identify that they have, like you'll be working with somebody on a charity project, and then they say, I'm not a Rotarian. And then you say, no, I can see the spirit. So I always tell them, you're not a Rotarian yet. I'm on a project I'm working on now is Adopt a River. And I remember we were meeting with a potential donor, I&M Bank. And so when they're telling us what they're doing about the Nairobi River, how they want to clean it up and all that, and I listened to them and I said, no wonder we are connecting. That's Rotary. What you're doing is Rotary. So if there's a common thread, it's easy to pick. If there isn't, then the weather, not in the cliche of you can talk about the weather, but really setting up a conversation. That's what I meant by what is it that you're going to. For instance, if I walk into a room and I'll find somebody who's quiet or who's alone, so something around like that flower, I love those colors, or this lighting is good, and pick up a conversation.
And I think with you balance it. You bring that conversation and you're welcoming, but you're also very professional and you speak out on things that are wrong. You don't let things slide because you want to maintain friendship. Following the 4-way test. For me personally, what does that mean? The ideals of Rotary, for example, for you?
Maybe I can talk a little about when you say that my profession, I've been in human resource management, I've gone into governance, leadership, and I also lecture. Now, if you look at that thread, there's something that goes of order, structure, rules, regulations. And for instance, when I go back to my days of being a HR manager, there's an aspect of being nice, being normal, but we have structures and we have rules. And there's a way that you can impart this. And since it is difficult, what I always said is get to the basics. Again, Rotary. If it's true, for instance, I'll use the line of like a disciplinary matter. has the person committed the offense or failed to do something? If that's a fact, the fact remains. So now it is, how do you tell them? And telling them is, you have to be respectful, you have to uphold their dignity, but you have to bring this fact up. So even in Rotary, when we look at the objects, and especially the 4-way tests, when you look at it, it's such a good guide even to life. If I want to correct something or to highlight something, and I'll not talk about the person, I won't be addressing Susie as the person. I'll be talking about the issue, this deed that has come up. It's not fair. It's not fair to all concerned, and definitely it's going to shatter all these friendships. So then I'll go back to number 1. Is it the truth? Yes, it's the truth because it's a fact. And if we don't address this fact, then definitely the better friendships and
fair
to all concerned doesn't come up. So always I'll always pick the issue and then see how to pick it up with the person. So it's a good guide to life, whether it's a Rotary issue or with a community. Very, very good guide. My current position this year is Rotary representative to UN Environment. And the project I'm really working on and spearheading is what we are calling Adopt a River.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. Just one is talk about the Rotary UN Day.
Yes.
How was that? I know I attended it.
Yeah.
And then I'll come to the second question afterwards.
I think, as I said, that was a highlight. And I validated my appointment. I really felt, yes, I have delivered. Because it was... the UN Day is, remember, Rotary was instrumental in setting up the UN.
Yes.
So it's a day that we showcase Rotary to UN. I'm happy that I was part of that.
So well done. I attended the event and I was proud to be part of it, just to sit there and to see all that was happening and all the stuff the youth have to offer, innovation and everything. I went for some of the sessions and I was there the whole day. And I never helped prepare, but I enjoyed being a participant.
Yes.
So would you tell us a little bit about your project with your representative to the United Nations Is it Environment?
Environment, yes. So the Environment Program has or rather, as you know, the environment is our newest area of focus. And environment is huge because we are looking at, anything environment, from the waters, the trees, pollution and prevention. So my first engagement is, as I came on board, I knew that there was a project which started in 2018 when the Rotary UN Day was here, which was Adopt a River. So what happened is last year, UN Environment put some money together and they came to Rotary and we discussed an engagement where they were going to sponsor clubs to clean up rivers or water bodies. And so a number of clubs pitched for that money. A couple of clubs, they got from between $4,000 to $5,000 per river. So what they did is some clubs came together as a coalition. So we have a project, a river in Eldoret. We have something in Naivasha. We have in Addis Ababa.
We have in Nairobi.
Nairobi, we have 2. There's what is called Green Coalition, which is 2 Lavington clubs. Then we have Athi River, and we have 14 Falls. The project is amazing because it's not only cleaning, they're cleaning, collecting, weighing, segregating. Some of the projects is also to use, how do you use this waste for, put it to use, which then can be commercial. And then engage the community so they can take care of that. And of course, then there's a whole issue of trees, planting trees. So early November, we had a feedback meeting, which now is privileged to co-chair with my counterpart at the UN Environment, Gavin Reynolds. And it was so refreshing to sit there and hear what they have done and see I'm so happy to be on this project because I think soon after we had our event, the workshop, 2 weeks later, we hear the Deputy President of Kenya talk about they want to clean Nairobi River, and they want. So how awesome is that? And we just said, can we? And they were talking to UNEP, so we tell UNEP, hey, your partners are here, because UNEP are the policy, and then Rotary delivers. We work with the community. So there is so much promise in that project. So much promise.
So much promise, so much excitement
Yes.
for me as well, because I'm an astronomer and we love our planet. It's the only one that supports life.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the statistics with climate change don't look so good. And also just looking at our, beautiful rivers and everything, if we could get them clean. How can we get more participation from communities? What do you want us to do? How can we come on board as Rotarians, as families, as schools? What would you tell us to do?
One of the things that we in Rotary have to really start doing better is storytelling. Talking a little more about the good work that we do. When we had this feedback meeting, some people in the room were like, hey, when did all this happen? Why are we not involved? How can we pitch in? Because like the Green Coalition, the two Lavington clubs, they're working with schools. Schools have environment clubs. Quite a number of them have environment clubs. All the actually the projects that are sponsored by UN Environment are 9. All those clubs work with communities. So one of the things we are purposing to do is to go back now, reach out, because Rotary has a great network. Reach out to more clubs. For instance, if we took the Nairobi River and just from, end to end downstream and connecting, because there are pockets. So you start at point C and push it all the way to E and then leave it. And so further down, pollution continues. Upstream from A, they keep polluting, and then it comes and finds your clean part. So if we can get partners who also who have that interest, so we'll have the communities around rivers, the schools around rivers, the corporates and other stakeholders around. And it's not only rivers, we're talking water bodies, so it can be lakes. These rivers are ending in the ocean. So, right, and then there's also the mangrove story. That's something else we are looking at. So it can only get better when we have more hands on board.
So we're coming to the end of the session. I don't want to end. We have to do another one. I just have a few questions to ask you. Your favorite song?
Song. There's something always at the top of my mind, and now that the question has come, oh my God, oh my goodness. What's the next one before as I think about?
Movie?
Oh,
Okay.
Sacrifice by Elton John.
Oh!
You play that song anytime.
It takes
It's
you.
such a, it's a calming, yes.
It's a very beautiful song.
Yeah,
I love it too.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
It's
you.
been nice talking to you. Right.